Hey, what's up everybody? It's Rusty Pop with Pop Properties of Antero Real Estate Services. And just continuing on a little bit with our video series about where people from the Silicon Valley could move to if they decided to cash in on their equity and retire or move out of the area for other various reasons. And this video is about a place I just visited. I actually went there 3 times in the last month to buy some investment properties, and that's in El Paso, Texas. I fell in love with El Paso. There's a couple of reasons that I think it's a great place to buy a home, not only to live in, but also for investment purposes, and maybe that'll be a whole nother video. So a little history about El Paso, or just the area in general, is that, it's actually been civilized for thousands of years. It started out obviously Native American tribal lands, and then over the years through Spanish Inquisition, and then, the United States purchasing it from Mexico, it's actually become what it is today, which is a thriving industrial community. It's the 23rd largest city in all of the United States, and it's the 6th largest city in Texas. There's about 700,000 residents there. Kind of interestingly enough, it is 81% Hispanic, which is a pretty high population of Latino people. So I talked a little bit in one of my videos on Instagram about how much great food there is. And there's restaurants there, there's kind of like their fast food chains like Whataburger, which we don't have here in California. Very big there. They also have another fast food chain, which when you eat there, you wouldn't even think it's fast food. It's called Taco Tote, and it's an amazing taqueria style Mexican food place, but it's fast food. One of the staples there is a Mexican restaurant that has a giant bar with dancing and live music all the time called Carlos and Mickey's. Those are just a few of the places that you could eat. There's also some really authentic Mexican food that's been there since like the 20s. The Little Diner, there's another place called L&J's and Kiki's. These are all places that are like, if you're from El Paso, you'd know about these. I'm really partial to Mexican food, so I'm gonna talk about that as primary, but there's also great barbecue. I mean, it's Texas, so everybody knows Texas is just absolutely well known for their barbecue. You just gotta be careful not to eat too much, because you could gain weight really quickly there. Besides the food, there's also a lot of recreation. I mean, it's Texas, so there's rodeos. And because of the great weather, there's music festivals all year round, Tejano culture, a place called Alamo Gordo where they have white sands, which is actually where a lot of music videos are recorded. So that's a place like a state park. There's a place called Carlsbad Caverns, which is a nice place to take a family for a day outing. And there's also an army base at Fort Bliss. That contributes to the economy, as well as there's some medical there. There's a lot of shipping and trucking that goes through there. And then there's also the University of Texas, El Paso, or what they call UTEP. But also, you're only about 45 minutes away from the town of Las Cruces, which is in New Mexico. And that has a big university there, also called New Mexico State University. So right around there, there's a lot to do. Where El Paso is geographically located, you're 45 minutes from Las Cruces, which is in New Mexico, but you're really actually right on the border of Texas and New Mexico. And there's another little town called Santa Teresa. And all of these places really would be great places to live if you decided to cash out your equity in California and move. One of the other cool things about where El Paso is located is that it's right on the other side of the border of Mexico from Juarez, Mexico. You could literally walk across the border, and as you're driving on I-10, you can see Mexico right from the freeway. The prices for homes there are really inexpensive. I mean, it's kind of incredible. It's not only cheap in comparison to here in the Silicon Valley, but really the nation at large. Probably on the low end, you could buy a house for $175,000, $200,000, which is really inexpensive in comparison to here. And then on the high end, $400,000, $500,000, maybe $600,000 for a really large, nice house, maybe on an acre. Very inexpensive place to live, and with that, you get a ton. Just recently decided to buy 2 duplexes over there, so we went over there to buy these duplexes. We spent less than $500,000 on 2 properties, that's 4 doors, that in total rent for $4,400. The price to rent ratio is also really good if you're thinking about a place to invest. It wouldn't really be fair of me to talk about all the great things that it has to offer without some of the cons as well. So obviously it is a desert climate. So one of the cons to me is there's not a lot of green. It's not as pretty as California. There's really no way around it, although it's beautiful in its own way. The other thing that I think is a big con is that 10 months out of the year, it's pretty warm. And probably 4 of those months, it's extremely warm. So if you do buy a home there, I would go with AC. And over there, they don't call it air conditioning, they call it refrigerated air. So keep that in mind. Do not buy a house with a swamp cooler unless unless you have the funds to purchase actual AC after you move in. Other cons, I think, is really where it's located. It's not centrally located to a lot of bigger cities. For example, to get there from the Bay Area, there are no direct flights. So that's definitely something that you have to keep in mind if you are going to be going back and forth to visit your family, or if you're going to work from El Paso and work for a company in the Bay Area. There had been in the past some spillover violence from Mexico that has people a little bit scared about being in Southwest Texas. You know, I didn't experience that in my 3 trips there, but more importantly, just statistics show that actually El Paso is one of the safest cities in the United States, and there's been a lot of work that's been done to keep it that way. But all in all, I think it's a great place to go. It's a lesser sort of known option, but that's kind of what this video series is about, is we're gonna talk about all the different places that you can move from California if, in fact, that's the right move for your family. You know, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. We hope this is useful information for you. If you like this video series or any of the other videos that we have on our channel, please click like and subscribe. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to reach out to me.